What's up guys, welcome back to another Overwatch video, and in this video I want to talk about D.va and if she has a problem. So, D.va. If you know anything about D.va, you know that when she first came out with the game, when it launched, she was pretty weak, not really too viable. There were plenty of people who wanted to play her, but it just really wasn't worth it. And even though there were people that could do well as her, just because you can do well as an underwhelming character does not mean the character isn't underwhelming. I had good games with D.va before she was buffed. That doesn't mean she isn't underwhelming though. So just throwing that out there. So yeah, Blizzard saw this. They saw that she was underwhelming. She was pretty much kind of a squishy tank that took a lot of punishment and just died, and didn't really have like the survivability that the other tanks did. Like pretty much every other tank was a better choice than D.va. And now, they saw that. They buffed her a few weeks ago, and she's basically seen as much as Reinhardt. And she's a really good versatile tank, like has a good movement ability, can block damage with defense matrix, and can get, pretty good multi-kills with her ult if used right. So she's definitely in a good spot, I think. There are the people who do believe she is a problem. Now, when she was first buffed, this pretty much happens anytime anything is like really buffed or adjusted or messed with in like a drastic way, like she was. There'll be knee-jerk reactions to it because they don't know how to deal with her. You see this all the time, like in games where they take out new heroes or something like that. Like in Overwatch, they release a new hero and they'll be like, "This is OP. What is this? Ana's OP. Why? Why did you do this? Why did you release her?" Mainly just because they don't know how to deal with it. And Ana's not the best example because she's not really a slayer. She's not really a killer. It's more of like the Ana boost thing that they don't like about her, or the sleep dart they don't like about her. But there are ways around all these things. But yeah, that's basically just the point I'm trying to make, is that when something is like buffed or changed or new, people have knee-jerk reactions because they don't know how to deal with it. And I feel like this is the case with D.va because as the weeks have gone by, I've seen less and less complaints, and now it's to the level of how anyone would complain when it comes to D.va. Thing is with Overwatch, since every character is effective at what they do, people will always feel like they need to be nerfed. I'm sure you've heard it. I personally have heard like at least 8 different ways to nerf every character in the game because they're effective at what they do, and because something's effective, people will feel like it needs to be nerfed. That's not the case. Effective does not mean OP. Effective just means it's good. Let me give you an example here. There's this game. It was a pretty solid game, good PvP, called Destiny. Everything in it was pretty much really effective for the most part, and everyone was like, no, this is bad. Everything cannot be this good. So they nerfed it. Being the great developers they are, good old Bungie nerfed basically everything in Destiny, and now it's a really inconsistent mess of a game that really isn't fun to play at all. As far as the PvP goes, Blizzard, thankfully, is not that idiotic, so they will probably not ever do that ever. Blizzard has even told their player base before, as far as nerfs go, that they want. You think you want that, but you don't. And I'm glad that smart, experienced developers are in charge of a game like this, because I know they will balance it correctly, and they have been balancing it rather well as far as like all the characters go. So again, I feel like D.va, the problem with D.va here is just that people didn't know how to deal with her new defense matrix. I'm sure you know what they did to her defense matrix. Don't have to explain it. It's definitely a lot different now. It's a pretty drastic change. And I've heard a lot of different ways to nerf this. You could be like, well, make it so you can hold it up for only like 3 seconds or so. And it's like, okay, that's kind of crazy. Or make it so for it to fully charge back up, for that meter to be filled on the side, make it take 15 seconds out of 10. Well, okay, that's still kind of crazy. Or that cooldown he has, that 1 second cooldown before you can bring it back up, make that like 3 seconds. Like, okay, calm down. Pretty much all the nerfs I've heard for D.va sound like something that'll break the character and make her kind of meh like she was before. Like right now, she is definitely good, definitely viable. Again, this is all my opinion, so of course, there are going to be people that disagree. That's fine. Anyone can have an opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is how I feel. But yeah, she's definitely a top tank right now. You see her just as much as Reinhardt, and that's good for the character. It really is, especially since she was so, meh before. And of course, a smart D.va is the only one that's going to be able to really take advantage of her. Like, you're not just going to see, like, just anybody hop on a D.va and raffle stomp like people did with Fan the Hammer McCree when he was first out with the game. You could rack up, like, 19 Fan the Hammer eliminations pretty easily. It was pretty simple to do. It took really nothing at all to make that happen. With D.va, it's different. You got to be smart with her to really rack up those kills with her. You got to be good with her. to go ahead and do that. It's not just, she does things for free, really. But yeah, her defense matrix. Let's talk about how you can counter this defense matrix, because there are the people who, they still don't know how. I have plenty of friends that will complain about defense matrix anytime it is brought up, and I've told them multiple ways to deal with it. They don't want to take my advice, continue to tell me he's OP. That's fine. If anything, if any of you are out there listening, you don't know how to deal with defense matrix, maybe take what I say to heart and try it out, and maybe you won't feel the same way you feel about D.va right now. So, her counters are the same as before. Reaper can still melt her. Now, you may be asking, well, she could hold up this defense matrix for a long time. How am I supposed to deal with this? Okay, if you are really having a problem getting around the defense matrix, what you can do is, let's say you have a teammate on voice. You could be like, hey, teammate, I'm Reaper. I can't really deal with this D.va right now because she keeps defense matrixing me. Maybe you can throw like shurikens at her or something, get her attention. I'll come around from the side, melt her down. Good team coordination. Now, if you don't have a teammate on voice, if you're solo queuing, you don't like talking to people, that's fine. I do the same thing myself. You can basically just wait. Just wait. At some point, someone's going to shoot at the D.va. People like shooting at tanks because they can be free ult charged if they're not paying attention. So let's say somebody like a soldier on your team starts shooting at D.va. She puts up the defense matrix. Hey, you're Reaper. Her attention is taken away. Go melt her. Go take her out of that suit. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. It does take a little bit of work, but no tank should ever be easy to take out. Never. They're really bulky characters that have good survivability, and that's how it should stay. It should never really be an easy 1v1 for like anybody. If the tanks are playing smart, at least. So yeah, that's how you deal with her as Reaper. Now Zarya. Zarya's a hard counter. Zarya pretty much 1v1s D.va all day. And this is because basically Zarya can walk right up to D.va. If D.va starts shooting at the Zarya, pop that bubble up. She's either going to stop shooting or not realize. Maybe she's not an experienced D.va, so she's going to keep shooting you. Give you free energy. You melt her down. Even with no energy, you still can take her down pretty easily, because your beam goes right through defense matrix. Same thing with Symmetra. Now, Symmetra isn't really a very good character right now, so that's not really like a counter. I have been able to take out D.vas as Symmetra, because the longer you keep that beam on somebody, the more damage it deals. So I put that beam on a D.va, I go from behind her, put the beam on her. Since Symmetra is so thin and D.va shoots so slow when or she moves so slow when she is firing, it's really easy to just like jump around and make it so she can't hit you. Keep that beam on her, it'll rack the damage, it'll kill the mech, and then it'll immediately stick to the D.va, the pilot D.va that comes out. You kill her really quickly too. It's not really a hard counter or reliable counter or anything like that, because Symmetra's not really all that good, and she isn't really somebody, viable that you should be running on your team. But if you ever find yourself playing Symmetra, you can pretty much take on a D.va reasonably well if you're bobbing and weaving enough and stuff like that. And there are other characters that deal with her pretty well. Roadhog has this thing where he hooks and then he can immediately shoot you before you put up your defense matrix. He can pretty much do this to anybody. He hooks somebody and he shoots them before, like, let's say Genji puts up deflect, Reaper goes into Wraith form. He can do that. He can do that. As long as the Roadhog is fast enough, he can always do that. The game does not give you enough time if the Roadhog is fast enough to use an ability to get out of being shot. So, that's half of D.va's health just gone like that. Zenyatta, pop that Discord orb on her. Zenyatta can melt. It's really easy to hit that big crit box of hers. And even if you're getting defense matrixed as you're firing your orbs at her, that Discord orb makes it really easy for like somebody to melt her from the side. So there are multiple different ways to deal with D.va. There really, really are. And there's this other complaint I hear about D.va is that her defense matrix can basically eat almost every ult in the game. And yes, it can, but here's the thing. Mainly when people complain about that is because they see this D.va in a mech suit along with a group, and they're like, okay, I'm going to use my ult. Let me take out my Roadhog ult, my Reaper ult, and let me just go in there and start wrecking everybody. Well, okay, you see the D.va in her mech suit. You know what she's going to do. If she's not completely oblivious, you know for a fact that she is going to defense matrix, right? You know for a fact. There's no way that they're not. I was playing with one of my friends. She plays D.va all the time, and this Reaper would always ult next to the D.va in her mech. And what's the D.va going to do every time? Block your ult. Every time. She did it. Every time. All 3 times the Reaper ulted. She was there. What you do, if you want to ult and you know the D.va can eat it, kill the mech suit. When D.va's out of her mech, she has no abilities, you can ult to your heart's content. If there's something that you know is going to block your ult, don't ult. Like, you see Genji, you see him looking at you as you're about to ult. Don't ult and let him deflect it. Wait till he uses deflect, then ult. It's really easy to get around. Just kill the mech. Every time I want to ult something, I see a mech, I will kill the mech. When D.va pops out, I will ult. It's pretty easy. A lot of people don't do it. It's pretty easy. Just keep that in mind the next time you want to ult and there's a D.va mech around. You can easily kill the D.va mech, eliminate the defense matrix, and ult to your heart's content again. So, yeah. I just don't feel like it's warranted to complain when you know something's gonna happen and you know how you can avoid it. So yeah, that's basically just my thoughts on D.va. Like, that's how I deal with her. I play a lot of D.va. I play against D.va a lot. I deal with them just fine. There are people who deal with me as D.va just fine. And I just feel like instead of yelling nerf for D.va's defense matrix and possibly making the character not viable at all again, it's better to just go ahead and learn how to deal with it. Like, she's not blatantly OP. She's not a fan of Hammer McCree. She isn't. So there's no reason to yell nerf when there are plenty of ways to deal with her and get around her. She's in a good, viable spot. Let's keep her that way. I'm pretty sure Blizzard feels the same way, and even if they do nerf her, I really doubt it's going to be by very much at all. Maybe just add like a second or two to the max charge time of like her defense matrix. That's pretty much it though. So those are my opinions on D.va. That's how I deal with her. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's also fine. Whatever you think, go ahead, leave your comments in the comment section below. We all have opinions here. We're all human, and that is just fine. And that's pretty much it for how I feel about the whole is D.va a problem situation. And I want to thank y'all for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.